Hi, my name is Heike Vibrance. I'm a professor at the Colegio Postgraduados in Texcoco in Mexico. And I would like to present the work of one of my students, Gabriel Sere, who is now at the Museum for Natural History in El Salvador. I want to talk to you about a sweet and large and showy and very practical tropical fruit, which is the product of a climbing cactus of the genus Selenicereus. There are various species that produce dragon fruit, but there's one main one which is called Selenicereus undulatus. This fruit has become more and more popular around the world. This is a picture from a market in Thailand, from the Boqueria market in Barcelona. However, the dragon fruit, or pitaya as it is known in Mesoamerica, is not really all that important in its area of origin in Mesoamerica. So we know very little about its diversity and uses and so on. So this study explored several aspects for El Salvador: selection criteria, traditional classification, and consumption preferences. For this, Gabriel interviewed 150 people around the country, all kinds of people, different educational levels, urban and rural people, some intermediaries, and so on. And he asked them on uses and preferences and selection criteria and cultivation. He also documented wild and cultivated populations, and for a sample, he measured the fruit size and shape and sugar content. You can see a map down here of the places where he took samples. So what did he find? He found that pitayas are mainly used as fresh fruit and mixed beverages of various types, which you can see illustrated up here. There are a number of minor uses, medicinal, vegetable, ornament, but not really very common. Most pitayas are either harvested from wild populations or from home gardens, but these plants usually come from wild populations also and go back probably sometimes also. The main selection criteria are flavor and pulp color. Spines were selected against in one region, and most people prefer sweet and red pulp fruit. A little bit more about that in a minute. And size was not as relevant. Strangely, the commercially cultivated varieties that had been introduced by technical assistance were not very sweet. There is very incipient empirical classification. Common names overlap with some other species. He also found 3 regional consumption patterns based on the degree of sweetness. Some regions prefer sweet and sour or sour. Some use more fruit and others more beverages. And the distribution patterns coincided with particularly some cultural factors, particularly the ethnic association or origin of some regions. So, in conclusion, the use of pitayas was widespread but not particularly common. Commercially available pitayas do not match the preferences of the population. Plants with the desired traits do exist in El Salvador and require some work. And the preference patterns coincide with pre-colonial ethnic and cultural divisions, even though the present-day population speaks Spanish. Well, I hope this was interesting for you, and thank you very much for listening.